many of you think that we should be sending money to Ukraine? And I've already made it clear. Israel, they don't need our money, but they do need our military support. I don't have any issues with that, but they don't need our money. How many of you believe that we should be sending money to Ukraine or even Israel? I don't think we should be sending money to any of them. We have issues here in the United States of America that we have to deal with that we're not dealing with. So now they're talking about $14 billion. $14 billion to Israel. And we still have an issue on our southern border. Now, again, just to be clear, I'm all for supporting Israel. We're going to support them, military, all the military stuff that we're sending to Ukraine, cut it off. Cut it off, redirect it to Israel. We don't need to be filling any bank accounts in Israel. They're a wealthy nation. We don't need to send any funding to Israel. We don't need to send any funding to Ukraine. Is anyone in disagreement with me on that? Is anybody in disagreement? Now, when it comes to military, I'm all for helping Israel. Absolutely. But the money going to Ukraine, like I said before, I believe that they're filling their pockets. They're filling their pockets. Listen to Karine Jean-Pierre as she's asked a question about the money for Ukraine. The money for Ukraine. Listen to this. Can you split screen it for me? Watch this.
Is the president open to considering any spending offsets for that funding?
So look, I'm certainly not going to get into hypotheticals from here, but what I can say is,
House Republicans are calling for that right
now. I understand that. I hear you. What we've been very clear about is that we want to see both move forward. We want to see both of the requests that we've made in the supplemental for the national security. We want to see both move forward because it is vital as those two countries are fighting for their democracies.
Okay. Shannon, does Ukraine have a democracy?
Oh, no.
Ukraine doesn't have. Did you hear what she just said? She said both of the countries are fighting for the democracy. Ukraine doesn't have a democracy. Ukraine don't even utilize a democracy.
Nope. They actually...
they don't even have it. There's nothing democracy about Ukraine. It's a money pit.
Their election.
They sure did cancel their elections.
Religious freedom is not happening right now in Ukraine.
They're actually locking up pastors and priests, anyone who believes in Jesus. They're locking them up in Ukraine.
And actually, there's an article on Fox News. I'm going to have to look for it. Where basically people from Ukraine are saying how corrupt the government is, even though America has put stipulations on the money that they give them, saying they have to clean up their corruption, and Zelensky says he is. They're saying it's all a lie. It's as corrupt as it ever has been.
I mean, how do you expect someone that's completely corrupt like Ukraine to say, okay, yeah, we're going to do right now. We're going to do right. Send us the money and we'll do right. Send us the money.
It's part of who they are.
How do you send corruption money and expect them to do the right thing? They don't. Now, listen again, because she's sitting there saying that Ukraine is a democracy and they're fighting to help them keep their democracy, which is a bunch of BS.
We want to see both move forward because it is vital as those two countries are fighting for their democracies. Look, these are emergency funding requests, right? We've been very clear about that. Like other emergency funding that Congress has passed with bipartisan support, they do not require offsets. They just don't.
Ukraine does not need emergency funding from us in the billions of dollars. I've said this before, and I've yet to hear anybody else even mention this. I've yet to hear anybody else mention this. We're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. Billions. Why in the world are we continuously sending money to Ukraine when the war could have been over with a long time ago had the United States of America never got involved? No one is saying that. At least I'm not hearing anybody else say it. We could have saved lives in Ukraine had the United States of America never got involved. Why? Because the war would have been over with. Putin would have gone in and said, okay, it's a done deal. Lives would have been saved. They already speak Russian. Hello. But they don't want to do that because they're filling their pockets. Listen to Shucky Ducky Schumer. And of course, he's a warmonger. And of course, it would not surprise me if he has a fat bank account in Ukraine.
And just to set
and
this
they want
up-
to, and another reason why they want to protect Ukraine is because they want to protect their bank accounts.
Yeah, and he was asked by a reporter, you're not going to hear it, if he would agree to splitting the money for Ukraine and Israel, and this is his response.
Would you be open to offsetting any of the emergency foreign aid package?
Emergency foreign aid should not be offset.
Emergency foreign aid should not be offset, meaning we need to continue pouring billions of dollars into Ukraine. Billions of dollars into Ukraine. These people absolutely disgust me to no end. 100% they disgust me. Now, here it is. Listen to this, $14 billion. Well, let me ask this question because it's the title of the broadcast. 14, you have to pick one or the other. You already know that my stance on sending money to any other country, we don't need to do it, especially even Israel, even though I support Israel. But we don't need to send them billions of dollars. They're filthy rich. They're a rich nation. Military equipment, which adds to dollars, okay, I get that. But military assistance, I'm all for it. But do we need to fill the bank accounts in Israel? No. Do we need to fill them in Ukraine? No. So let me ask everyone that's watching right now, leave me a comment. Should we send $14 billion to Israel, because that's what they're debating right now, or should we give the $14 billion to the IRS? Just put Israel or IRS. Just type one or the other. Personally, I don't think the IRS need any more of my money. And again, I don't want to fill any bank accounts in Israel, but maybe the $14 billion would equal out to military equipment. Okay? Then I can do some leniency. Right? I can do some leniency. Right? But we don't need to fill anybody's bank account with money. But the question again, it's not a both. We already know we don't want to send money. My question to everyone, do we support Israel or do we support the IRS? Which one? Do we support Israel or do we support the IRS? Let me put it that way. Israel or the IRS? Listen to this. Listen to this, because they're wanting to send $14 billion to the IRS. And I'm asking you right now, do we support Israel or do we support the IRS? I'm going to support Israel. You can dislike me about it, but I'm going to support Israel.
Well, I think it's a really great first effort. Let's remember how this all started. Hamas, unprovoked, attacked Israel a few weeks ago, and Israel is responding. Israel is our nation's greatest and strongest ally, and they're asking for our help, but we understand that we're badly in debt. So we want to help Israel, and we all do. I think most Republicans and Democrats absolutely want to do that. But we also have to acknowledge our own financial crisis here in America. The Speaker has rightfully picked a place where we don't need to be spending money. No one in America says you can fix all America's problems or Israel's problems if we just hire more IRS agents. So he's going to make the Senate Democrats and Republicans and some Republicans in the House and, of course, House Democrats choose between the IRS or supporting our greatest ally against an unprovoked terror attack on their soil. I think it's an easy choice, quite honestly.
All right, so
so let me ask you this, because I don't think we should be filling anybody's bank accounts with money. And I agree with everybody on that. Let me ask it this way then. Who do you think the Democrats will want to support with $14 billion? Do you think the Democrats will want to support Israel, which is our ally in that region of the world? Or do you think the Democrats will rather take that $14 billion and put it in the IRS so they can have the 85,000 or 87,000 armed IRS agents? Which one do you think that they want to pour it into? Which one do you want to think? Nah, that's a no-brainer there. It's a no-brainer on which one they want to pour it into, because we know how they truly feel about Israel because of God. The Democrat Party rejects Israel because they know God, the Bible, the God of our Bible, the God of all creation, created Israel, said he will make that his space. He will make that his place. And Satan and these demons, they don't like it. That's the reason why there's such turmoil in Israel right now, because they know what God said. They know it. It's in the book. It's in the book. You can't even deny that it's in the book. And they're not even hiding the fact that it's in the book. They just want to get rid of Israel. Now, listen to Blinken. Is this one Blinken? Yeah, listen to Blinken. And he's talking about what happened. And all this is, again, now, I'm all for supporting Israel militarily. We don't need to fill the bank accounts. I don't know how many times I have to say that because some people still don't hear it. But I'm all for helping Israel militarily. Ukraine, nothing. Cut it all off except for, okay, you need a Band-Aid. We'll help them out there with a Band-Aid. But other than that, Israel military, no money. We don't need to send money. Listen to Blinken. You said you had the article, Shannon?
Well, this hearing right here that you're about to play is actually the hearing over the money for Israel.
Yeah, it's about to be, right. But you said you had an article.
I do.
Let's put the article up on the screen real quick.
And basically, it's just more on that $14 billion. You know, the Republicans introduced a bill aiming to fund Israel. The bill would send $14.3 billion to Israel without addressing funding requests for the war to Ukraine. Johnson's new bill would pay for this spending with $14.5 billion in cuts to the long understaffed Internal Revenue Service. That word understaffed is, of course, by the NPR. That's their wording. Senate Democrats and White House have called the bill a non-starter. The bill also puts House Republicans at odds with many GOP senators, including Mitch McConnell. Democrats oppose the bill on two fronts. They say that the Ukraine money cannot be separated from Israel, and they say emergency funding of this type is not usually offset with cuts. White House Press Secretary Jean-Pierre said Monday, politicizing our national security interest is a non-starter. Demanding offsets for meeting core national security needs of the United States, like supporting Israel and defending Ukraine from the atrocities and Russian imperialism, would be a break from the normal bipartisan process and could have devastating implications on our safety and alliances in the years ahead. And of course, Biden said the same thing. He said they both want to completely annihilate their neighboring democracies. He warned chaos, death, and destruction will happen if we don't help.
World War III. World War III.
You like the content Will Johnson is producing? To stay informed and up to date with the current events, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos like this one. Also, to find Will Johnson, visit www.uaf.media.